Good evening. It's an honor and a privilege to be before you tonight. My name is Roberta Boudreaux, and I'm running for sheriff. I have 25 years law enforcement experience. I have a BA in criminal justice and a minor in psychology. My leadership experience entails, I was a facilitator, the warden of the jail for in excess of 10 years. I also started out as an entry-level deputy there in 1990. Somewhere around 96, I went into the police academy and became A.L.E.T.A certified. And from there, I went into juvenile and detectives. I did a stint there for about 2 years. So I have executed arrests. I have sworn affidavits that have my name on them, and I have testified in court. And as a result of that, was able to get convictions. I'm running on community-based leadership, and by that I mean unity. I heard my counterpart talk about coming together and treating everyone fairly, and that's exactly what I intend to do. I think there's an extreme disconnect in government as a whole. I think our problem is way bigger than the Sheriff's Department. Although the Sheriff's Department is important and it's my goal to lead it, I think that we also need the help from the city and the parish entities as well. I think we as the citizens, the police officers, need to be more community involved with the citizens and be more attentive to their needs, handle each call on its own merits, and be more humble. I am Roberta, and I'm running for sheriff. I think what makes me qualified to be sheriff is I've led and managed people before in the past, and I'm very firm, but I'm very fair. I think it's important as a supervisor and a leader that you realize that a position doesn't make you a leader. I think reaching out to your employees and proper management and being aware of what your responsibilities are to them as well as what their responsibilities are to you are an integral part of making and breaking you. As sheriff, every first line officer is a direct reflection of me. And if they're not comparable to my ethical and moral values that I possess today, they're not going to stay. I think that we have issues in the department now where the light is being shined on us negatively. I would like to change that. I think that with my psychological degree that maybe that we can catch some of these problems early on. I know that the citizens that I talk to on a regular basis just want fair treatment. I think that we need to train our deputies more to learn and understand special needs people, neglect and abuse in elderly cases. All those areas need to be addressed more critically because not everyone needs to go to jail. I think patience and compassion is paramount. I think the top elephant in the room is obviously the city contract. When the city police was last in existence, we spent $4.7 million to run the department. When the contract was made with the Sheriff's Department, the Iberia administration back in the day when it was voted on by the people, as this is what they wanted, the contract was set at $2.95 million. Today it sits at 6.3. I think there's a gross amount of overspending going on in the department. I think there's money to be saved. I believe that when you had a $2.95 million budget of operation and a $4.7 million operation of the city police, you had more services in the city than you have today. You have a mandated contract which indicates that you should have at least 10 officers on the road all the time. I don't think that's being honored at this time. Another problem in the Sheriff's Department today is salaries. When 2008 to 2009 budget to where we are today, it has exceeded 1.3 more in monies spent. Your top heavy and your first line officers need to be compensated for the jobs they do so they stay here and become familiar with the people we serve on a consistent basis.
Thank you.
Well, I think I alluded to it on the question just before this, and I'll go back to it again. I think there's money to be saved on the city contract. I think there comes a time when we should have more dialogue and not monologue. I think the city contract is, again, the elephant in the room, and money can be saved there. I think a second way that money can be saved, because of the economy where we are today with the oil industry and the prices as low as they are, we're losing revenue, and it's hurting us. I think we need to restructure the management side of the department, and again, give more money to the first line officers so that we can retain individuals, so that we can become constants in the community. I can't understand, I looked at some numbers today, and the numbers are way up, and I don't see the services being provided with the numbers that are being distributed. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank you.
We're back at the elephant in the room. It seems to be a hot topic. I absolutely believe that contract is holding the city hostage. I can recall instances where cars were parked and said, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to service you. I think there's ways and means to get around the contract. I think, again, if we have dialogue instead of monologue, that can be accomplished through intergovernmental agreements. I don't think all services need to be consolidated, but I do believe that some should be. That would be CID and warrants. I don't see why the city couldn't have its own traffic division. And with an intergovernmental agreement, and obviously sitting down with the city leaders and working out the details and the particulars, I think it can be accomplished. It gives us more visibility in the city, which is absolutely what we need. There's nothing more viable as a crime deterrent than visibility. I think that quality control measures are important. I don't think there's anything in place right now in the department for that in any way, not for patrol, not for detectives, and for sure not between the city and the sheriff's department. I think there definitely needs to be some accountability. There needs to be some kind of liaison. I know they did away with the position, but if the city has a vested interest and generates money and has to pay for a service, then I think they should have some direct oversight on what that service is being provided and how it's being distributed.
Thank you.
I'm going to start out by saying trash attracts the criminal element. It tends to lead people, the criminal element, to believe that you don't take pride in your community. So I'm a strong proponent of putting the guys out there and having to pick up the garbage. I'm a strong proponent of programs in that prison to help them get reacclimated back into society. I believe right now it's just a revolving door. I think absolutely inmate labor is a benefit to the parish and the city and the citizens it serves, as long as it's in a public way. I don't think it should be used for private. It's illegal to do that. I would never be a proponent of that. I think that if we can clean up our city and clean up our parish, then the criminals are less likely to hibernate here. As I understand it now in the jail, you have trustees who work, but there's nothing else, no other programs inside there to try to take and teach them skills and educational things they need, and labor, learn how to fill out a resume. All these programs benefit us on the back end. If you just stick them in there and hoard them up like animals, that's how they come out. And they go right back in. And then the end result is we become victims. So we need to do a better job at that. I think we need some sensitivity training. I think we need extensive training, actually. I think that as first line officers, when we go out on the scene, 9 out of 10, we're going into an escalated situation, and our job is to diffuse it. I think in today's world, especially here in the most recent past, it's exactly the opposite. We have fueled the fire time and time and time again. I think it's important that we take every call and handle it on its own merits. I don't care if you responded to this same house 5 times and the person was a donkey, to use another word. It doesn't mean that when you respond the 6 times, they're still going to be a donkey. I think you need to play the what-if game in your mind and be prepared for just about anything, because that's what you should do as an officer. But I think you also should keep an open mind and be compassionate about the job that you do. Just because you put on a badge doesn't give you a sense of entitlement and an ego. Mr. Joe has said it all night long. Respect is earned. I sincerely believe that. I think that as a whole, everyone out there in the community in Iberia Parish just want to be treated fairly. I don't think it matters what color your skin is. I think that everyone should be treated fairly. That's it. I think this question is about, the department has spent in excess of $1.1 million in civil lawsuit settlements thus far. I think that their program is a definite need in the parish, in any parish. And again, it goes back to fiscal responsibility. I believe that it's something that can come back. I also know that youth programs are critical. I think that we need to reach down into the youth in the elementary level, because you got DARE and you have SROs, but I think we need to reach deeper into the youth. I think elementary level, I could envision my guys going in and having lunch and breakfast with the children and building a lifetime bond with those kids. There's nothing more impressionable than a child. When you go on a scene and you're an officer and you see a child, 9 out of 10 times it's not a good situation. So their perception of us is sometimes tainted. I think it's important that we reach them at a young age so we can change that. I have a guy that I want to bring in who's going to offer some programs in the summertime to keep these kids busy. One of the first things that was shut down when this administration came in was the little place on Hopkins Street where we had like after school things. I think it was a plus for us. I don't know why. I guess he needed the money elsewhere to waste it. I think we could have saved it. It was a plus. It was something where we could reach out to our youth and our children after school, and I'd like to see it come back. Real quick, I just want to say we live in a democracy, and it's simple. You've had an opportunity to listen to all 5 of us tonight. I didn't lose count. So I want to say, take your time, assess each of us, and vote for who you think is the best qualified. If you're satisfied with the services you received today, then vote for the incumbent. If not, you have 4 viable choices here. Thank you.